Alright, mama kwa baby ba ye channel so na ene ye nam tintan fidin so ani ko hu one of the article a columnist a friend Kofi Badu the abatu edwa concerning Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and then after so the former president of the land His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ni nyina ne say or trust say some of us have always held unadulterated conviction that governance is a serious business, and as such, it requires a forward-thinking, a serious and a committed candidate to bring about the needed progress. Ni nyina ne say was say omu enyini ye no n'enyini mu no omu enya adwenumpo bi say amamuo de serious business a ehia obi a odwene kɔ n'anim na afi so oye serious e wo ne dwumadie bia mu na afi so wo ahofama ewo na osaye ahofama ewo ne candidate mu a obetimi de enoma ebema mpuntu akoso de abre oman ni mu sa opkanyini no anate sa kandini no eno na ye Ghana ha ye hwehwe na wachire mu ewo Ghana ha say ohwe democratic dispensation we have more often than not only relying on noisy economic managers who mine pro-occupational to the amass wealth at a detriment of poor and disadvantaged Ghanaians. And in share democratic dispensation enye obia no betimi do mani atono so se de be ya omano benye de na oye economic managers betimi pre-occupational amass e de enye omu se tam na afizo so ehiafo no ekoso a ebre enye sabi enope na osi obia ni ho a ohwe na oyi ne ho efiri ono nko a kan say ono nko a enedwene ne ho osi trust me, nobody holds as an isolated thinker's view that the ecumenically diffused coronavirus and Russia-Ukraine war conflict has nothing to do with Ghana's economic challenges. It's being economically with the truth. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, before the insidious coronavirus, made important gains towards microeconomic stability, including inflation, which declined to a single digit and within the Bank of Ghana's tolerance band, buoyant growth, averaging and then 5% and over 6% in 2017-2018, and a primary surplus in 2017 in the first time in 15 years. Abusafo was this also the global pandemic a coronavirus and so Russia-Ukraine war in effect Ghana yesika no economy ni so ni nyina sem ebra Akufo-Addo ne Bawumia take over no na economy no grew it was growing buoyantly, and after so with 2017 there was an increase in a single digit increase, and after so 2017-2018 according to IMF report HSA na surplus Ghana coming into 2020 no and Ghana den kebitimi ade ho ye pa na so because of the deadly coronavirus and Russia-Ukraine war no eno ene bebo mu ama enoma ankoyi ama enoma aginsem ewo na nado danko Akufo-Addo ene Bawumia happen. So take for instance the then director of the International Monetary Fund Christine Lagarde observed that the Ghanaian economy before the unspeakable coronavirus was in a better place than it was in the previous years under John Dramani Mahama administration. Na say ansa na coronavirus no ebepa no na economy no newo standing in a good place na nado danko Akufo-Addo ne Bawumia amanyoko ni mu chen the previous government na John Dramani Mahama na elidi omu no na sa columnist friend BADU Kofi Badu de esa in some way ato edwa was Russia and Ukraine impasse during the Mahama administration. Ghanaians became fed up with the extremely harsh conditions amid corruption allegations. And normal people who are Tamana John Dramani Mahama akonya so no Ghana for be fed up after so mo bre no it sounds a normal people na ekoso na enkoso ye wabra na Russia Ukraine war any ho na coronavirus no any ho nanso corruption kwa allegation level against former president John Dramani Mahama no didi kan bus branding beka mama Tifa Ativo eco branded bus power with so much huge sums of dollars no de koye afezo so Brazil World Cup beka honorable free ankra ekoto kube baako na busuafo na ne bo no enye asem ketoa emom sade 4 million dollars edi go play mu edi ko Brazil eno ka ho asem afi so anse ho another corruption allegation Savannah Development Authority SADA and afi so Suba and afi so Jida ni nyina confirm sika aban no etwa se ode be mpuntudwuma ama mabunu no enya bi aye nenso ekire no ebeda ne confirm ye ema confirm no esusu se ebitutu ko Burkina Faso Suba Sada Jida Snit Maslow NCA Ford expedition vehicles yebeka ya yewura bi ana owo Burkina Faso a wode bo car friend Ford ebre former president Mahama without the knowledge of the nation embra etia se so ye omanpanyina wontimi nyi achede bia emfiri obi bia ha unless aban no anase oman no ama ho na saa no mo nyina ekoso John Dramani Mahama ne penso anase na mamu penso nenso some radio Mahama ekasa for granted. How on earth would he consider returning to the presidency given the dreadful errors in judgment during his tenure of office? Neche se bra otia abenwa so no enoma we nyina na ye noma emfa kwamu na ense ne mfata enti sa papa we de biem no betimi de aba on board e wo bra o pese osa eba so biemu or say let us be honest, it is quite enormous for anybody to accept somewhat unequally that Ghana's economy under Mahama was 3.5 or 3.4% growth and 15.4 inflation was better than Akufo-Addo Bawumia record before the insidious coronavirus 8.6% growth and then 7.5% in inflation. Not just a ultimate compare because it can be before inflation any growth one. Mahama time na growth no 3.4%. And after so inflation no at 15.4%. But Mahama any Nanado ne Bawumia administration no ombefa ema economy grew at a rate of 8.6%. And after so inflation it could do 7.5%. And into obi biara anywhere betimi dey sa current administration previous administration no compare now because Nanado dan Akufo-Addo encounter series of problems be to say coronavirus, Russia and Ukraine war. But Mahama no there was nothing and so no kura ampo no wantimi anteki economy no amfa nko bibia na ese na efata enenti ehun the necessary and I said the necessity ebenam so ama Ghana for ato abama former president Mahama ebiun se omedi oman Ghana so now I say how can Mahama proudly beat his chest and claim ownership of a solid economic foundation when the GDP shrunk from 47 billion in 2011 to 40 billion by 2016? And Tisaba Pawi inflation GDP from 47 billion or 2011. See 40 billion Ghana cedis 2016 December mu eno nti denti na Mahama bitimi eden nsa abro ne bo akire mu se on enam so ema economy no enya solid ground because considering a brand Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo ne Bawumia attaining office no the economy was growing massively, the GDP was growing at a higher rate until the deadly virus coronavirus and also Russia and Ukraine war ebe hiti omu enunti ono de obeka say in any way, in any day, in any time the vice president Mahama the vice president Bawumia is competent than the former president John Dramani Mahama. Ghana's economy grew just before the inexpressible coronavirus stood around 8.6 from 3.4 in December 2016. Interestingly, in the first 2 years of Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration, the industry sector recorded the highest growth, rate of 16.7%, followed by agriculture at 8.4% and the services at 4.3%. So looking at this analysis, the columnist I friend K BADU at the Abetu Idano, you read me as it say truly Nana Adodan Kwakufuado and His Excellency the Vice President Bawumia administration is far and was far better than John Dramani Mahama's administration. Looking at the economic growth, the GDP, and then the inflation until the recent coronavirus in there, they were performing very well and massively compared to the former president's regime. And then Kofi BADU say ex-president Mahama ain't me emedi omanu subiem, and he is not competent enough. So he thinks if the NPP are to elect a flag bearer, they should elect a vice president Bawumia, a candidate Bawumia. Said the bear come 2024 general elections Ghana for everything ato abano de ama Yura Bawumia because looking at the two former president Mahama and Afesus Bawumia he foresees Bawumia is more competent 4 times than His Excellency the former president John Dramani Mahama. For our drink to comment section no ase na Afesus so yes one like it no one share so Eddie Amaye. Dear columnist K BADU Eddie Abetu Dwanum one in a adwene and answer one in any adwene. Let your comment flow at the comment section no ase. Ahase nim dear news.